Fraternities and sororities. We have all seen the movies. Pitch Perfect, School Days, 22 Jump Street, Higher Learning, and the parents may remember Revenge of the Nerds. These movies depict fraternities and sororities in a certain light. Sometimes it's positive. They show the brotherhood, they show the parties, but sometimes it's negative. The drinking, excessive alcohol. So the question that you guys probably have, should I join a fraternity or sorority? Is it positive? Is it negative? How do I get in? These are the questions that we're going to address. By definition, a fraternity or sorority is a group of men or women formed by brotherhood or sisterhood. They share common goals, aspirations, and make a commitment to each other for life. The members that form a fraternity or sorority share their efforts, friendship, and knowledge. So what does that mean in layman's terms? To be frank, it means they have a good time. They hang out, they go to sporting events, they play sports together, they go shopping together, they study together, community service, a lot of interactions with the brothers or the sisters. That's all. It's an opportunity for a group of guys or group of girls to come together, to get to know each other, and to have a good time before they graduate. If we're going to talk about fraternities and sororities, then we must talk about hazing. But first, let me say this. Not all organizations haze. However, there are a few. By definition, hazing is any action or situation with or without the consent of the participants which recklessly, intentionally, or unintentionally endangers the mental, physical, academic, health, or safety of the student. So the question is, why do organizations haze? And more importantly, why do pledges allow themselves to get hazed? And the answer to that question is acceptance and rituals. A lot of times the veteran members of the organizations, they went through something similar for their intake process. So the new intake members, they feel as if they have to go through that same process in order to feel accepted and wanted in the organization. Is it right? No, it's not right. Do you have to accept being hazed? You don't at all. In fact, there's a hotline on most campuses where you can call and let personnel know that something questionable is going on with this organization, and they will investigate. So I strongly recommend that you guys do your research, find out what hazing is, and just be cautious if you're interested in joining any organization on campus. Not to belabor the point, but I think it's important to talk about a couple issues here. And I'm not going to read everything, only the ones I feel you should be privy to. 82%. 82%. That's the majority of people that die from hazing. It involves some type of alcohol, meaning shots or how many beers can you consume. So if you're going through an intake process and it does involve alcohol, just be mindful. Be mindful. Next, I want you guys to understand that hazing motivates nobody. It hinders academic achievement, it destroys self-esteem, and it causes emotional strain and physical harm. So I understand some people may feel the need to go through the process, but research says that hazing, there's nothing positive that comes from it. In fact, it does build some type of animosity between the people that does the hazing and the ones that receive it. Keep that in mind also. And lastly, hazing is not associated with just Greeks. A lot of times, like I mentioned before, athletes are involved in hazing, especially in football and basketball and baseball. You'll see it. The rookies, they would have to carry the bags of the veterans to the locker room or off the bus. So hazing is not just a college thing, but it does occur on college. And if you're interested in joining an organization, just be mindful of what's going on and aware. So why join a fraternity or a sorority? To be honest, there's a plethora of reasons to join, but I only documented 4 here. Number 1, and probably the most important, expand your network. It's not who you know, it's not what you know, but it's who knows you. And when you join an organization, you're automatically plugged into the 200, 300, 400,000 members that they have. So as you can imagine, some of those members are in high positions. They could be judges, they could be lawyers, they could be doctors. So when you get into these organizations, if you work it right, you can potentially network with these individuals for an internship or some type of experience. So expanding your network is key. And even if you don't join an organization, that should be something on your to-do list. How to expand your network and get your name out there on the community and on campus. Number 2, enhance your resume. When you join an organization, number one, you're doing community service. So you're networking with people within the community, but also you're helping your community, and that looks good on your resume. Leadership positions within the organization. You could be the president or the vice president, and that looks good on your resume because it shows that you have leadership potential. But number three, and probably the most important, is as it relates to your resume, when you join a fraternity or sorority, you're able to get more prestigious positions on campus. And that's not written anywhere, but when you're in organizations, your popularity does increase. So if you're running for some type of position, whether it's student government, president, or vice president, because you're in that fraternity or sorority, you can use that as leverage to try to get votes. So it does enhance your resume if you play it accordingly. And that kind of segues to number three, leadership experience. It does allow you to gain leadership opportunities on campus. A lot of times, if you look at your current student government president, in most cases, they're probably in a fraternity or sorority or have that backing of a fraternity and sorority. So these organizations are powerful because a lot of times they team up and they work together in order to get what they want from the campus politics. And finally, number four, meet new friends. And that's equally as important because you want to enjoy the college experience. And a part of it outside the classroom are meeting new friends. You want to have people that when you look back after you graduate, you can laugh because you guys had memorable events, whether it's the parties, whether it's the socials, the different events. So coupled together, these are the four main reasons why you may want to join a fraternity or sorority. So what are the actual reasons why people join fraternities and sororities? This is the complete opposite of what we spoke about previous. The number one reason, the parties. They like the lifestyle. They like the red cups, the kegs, the beers, long nights. Wake up the next morning, you don't know what happened. That's what they see on TV, and when they come to college, they want to experience that because they think that's part of the college experience. So that's the number one reason. Number two is the dating. They want the guys, they want the girls, they want crazy nights. So they think joining an organization will allow them to have those privileges. And it may. I'm not saying that it won't. And a lot of times it does. But that's not a good reason to join the organization. You should join an organization because you believe in their core values. You believe in their objectives. You believe in what they stand for, not because of what they can do for you. Number three is stereotypes. A lot of times, a lot of these organizations, they have stereotypes. This organization is known for the pretty girls, or this organization here, they're known for the smart guys. And even though stereotypes is probably not the best reason why to join an organization, a lot of people justify it because it makes sense. But again, like I said prior, don't join an organization because of the stereotypes. Join it because you believe in what they stand for. And unfortunately, a lot of people join organizations just for acceptance. They want friends. They want to feel welcomed. So they join these organizations looking for that. And that's not why you should join an organization. The previous slide, those are the main reasons why you should join. So if you're interested, try to join for the right reasons. Do research on your organization. And then when the time comes, go out there and join. Each Greek letter organization is affiliated with a governing body. At this point, it's not too important to understand which governing body your organization of choice works with. However, just know if you were to get into the organization, you will be contributing towards the governing body in some capacity. But right now, let's look at how do you get into an organization. The process. The process to get into an organization is going to vary, guys. And it depends on what type of organization you want to join. If you join a predominantly Caucasian organization, your intake process is going to be completely different than if you were to join a predominantly AfricanAmerican Greek letter organization. So let us start off with the process for the predominantly Caucasian organizations. They have something called Rush. Rush occurs during the first week of the semester. And what happens here, if you're joining a sorority, you would go from house to house in an organized and systematic manner where you're allowed to interact with the sisters of that respective house. And during this interaction, they're trying to get to know you, you're trying to get to know them. For the fraternities, they have socials also, but a lot of times they have parties. And if you're a brother, or if you're interested in being a brother, you will go to these parties and interact with the brothers of that house. Once these interactions are over, then there's something called a bid. If the fraternity or the sorority, if they're interested in you, they'll put out a bid. And if you receive a bid, you're not obligated to join that organization, that fraternity or that sorority, but you can if you want to. A lot of times they have matching where they try to match the organizations that you want to join and the organizations that want to accept you. So there's a matching process. And hopefully you get into the organization of your choice. Once you're selected and once you accept your bid, then you go through the pledging process. The pledging process is very different depending on the organization that you join. A lot of times it consists of a lot of rituals. So I don't know, and you will find out if you join what that process is exactly. Once you go through your pledging process and you're initiated, then you become a brother or a sister of your respective organization. So if you're interested in joining a predominantly African American organization, the process is completely different. Number one, I would strongly recommend to research all organizations. There are 9 of them, 5 fraternities and 4 sororities. Do adequate research and figure out which one is for you. Once you figure out what you want to do, then find somebody on campus and express interest discreetly. Discretion is key, and that's one thing you'll learn if you join any organization. Discretion is key. For this process, people shouldn't know your intentions. It should be a surprise when you finally cross and join the organization. Another smart thing to do is attend the event sponsored by the organization of choice. Find out what's going on campus and go and attend. During this time period, you should interact discreetly with the brothers or the sisters of that organization so they can know that you're interested and they can begin to watch you and learn a little bit more about you. It's very important to get to know the brothers and sisters because they have a vote. Each organization has a certain voting process, but whatever that process is, you need to make sure that the majority of the people vote in your favor. Each organization will have an interest meeting. It's imperative that you go to the interest meeting and formally express interest. More than likely, you will have an interview process, and if you're selected to make line, then you'll go through your intake process. The intake process will vary depending on the organization. Finally, once you finish your intake process, you'll have a probate show. And a probate show is pretty much where you're revealed to the entire campus. This picture captures the pros and cons of going Greek. There are some negatives, the cost, and that varies depending on the organization that you join, the socializing, the drinking, but there's also some positives here, and one being the networking piece. So think about it, do your research, and if you feel that going Greek is for you, awesome. However, if you feel like it's not for you, there's other organizations on campus that can give you something similar to what Greek gives you. So do your homework and make the best decision for you.